Hey, g'day everybody. Welcome to the Danny and Rob show. Like the two Ronnies, but the other way around. Instead of good night from him and good night from me, it's hello from me and hello from him.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, sorry, Rob. It's my co-host. Normally I start off and then I introduce my host. And I don't have him sitting beside me, but Rob said to me about 2 hours ago, hey, Danny, how about doing a video? And I went, yeah, what should we do it on? And he said, well, how to earn money on YouTube. And I went, oh, yeah, I'm still working on that. I've been doing this for 3 years. How long have you been doing it for, Rob?
Probably about 3 years as well. Well, in my way.
Actually, I lie. I've actually had a YouTube channel, I think, from 2013, so maybe 11 years ago. And my biggest video to date is actually my mate showing everyone how to fillet a brown trout. And I filmed it on my phone. It was impromptu, and it's had about 250,000 views. So it's not really what I wanted on my YouTube channel. In fact, when it got to 50,000 views, I deleted the sucker. I thought, get that off my channel. I'm not about filleting brown trout. I'm a bloody vegan. Well, plant-based eater. Anyway, and then my mate rang up and said, oh, I haven't got a YouTube channel. Can you put it back? And I put it back, and straight away, it kept going again. Get about $6 a month from paid advertising that's on that video. It's like a passive income. But
well, it is passive income, isn't it?
Well, you see, and a lot of people try to figure out how to make money, and then a lot of people accuse me because I go after Ponzi schemes and scammers. As soon as I confront any of those, they go, oh, you're just after clicks and you're just after the money that YouTube pays. And I go, well, it doesn't pay that well. But when I started this journey, I thought, if I could make a living out of being a YouTuber, I'm all in. So there is some ways to make money out of being a YouTuber, and we want to share some of our secrets with some of our successes, some of our failures, because we want everyone to have a voice. And I think Rob and I would be the first person to put a hand out. If we're at a face-to-face conference and someone on the stage asked one of us two to do an impromptu speech on any topic for 5 or 10 minutes, I think Rob and I would both have our hands up because we do like public speaking. Even though,
give it a go. Yep.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. We've done a lot of public speaker training, and Rob is actually a public speaker trainer. That's what you do and have done in your former life and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to YouTube, it's a different monster because we talk from our torso up. We have to use other speaking techniques to get you engaged. Otherwise, we lose our audience, which we have 7 people in here at the moment listening to us. And if you'd like to ask a question about us as YouTubers, please put them in there and I'll bring them up on the stage. Now, Rob, you've got a whole list of questions that's going to bore the living crap out of everybody who's listening. So you better
I've actually put a little bit of thought into this, and I've used ChatGPT as well. And just coming back to one thing that you said about one of the criticisms that you may get is that, oh, well, you're only doing it for clicks. Well, actually, that is quite an ignorant comment, because if you were trying to save the world, or if you were trying to save dolphins, or if you had a political point of view or any information that you wanted to share, the clicks is actually the measure of your effectiveness. So, yes, every YouTuber is actually doing it for clicks, because the clicks is actually measuring how effective they were. So, for example, if you want to say the dolphins and you got 100 views, there's only 100 possible people that could have heard your message. But if you change your message somehow, then more people could hear it. And if you got monetized and you're earning more money, then you'd probably be able to do more videos because now you got more time.
So if I put a video up of a dolphin trapped in a net and I save the dolphin, I would probably get more clicks than I would coming up with a way that we could prevent putting the nets in the water in the first place, which is a bit of a shame, really, because that's where they talk about clickbait in a way where, you could actually think, well, I know what I'll do. I've saw somebody getting a dolphin out of a net. I'll video it, put it on YouTube, and I'll have millions of people look at me going, wow, look at that guy. He's a hero.
Yeah, well, you did actually raise one topic of conversation, clickbait, which I haven't got in the questions. I've got 26 questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through those. Danny and I were just having an impromptu speech speaking conversation before we came online, and Danny said, I don't think we'll agree on most of this. And I said, I'm bloody sure we won't agree on most of this. But that's fine, because we don't have to. It's just to discuss and give certain viewpoints, and we're going to be covering genre, topics, thumbnails, titles, audiences, equipment, video, audio, the whole thing, or at least as many things as we can think of. And we're going to do it because we both want to make more money, because we both want to get more effective in our own area, whichever area we go in. Right, you ready for the first one?
Let's get into it, man. Make it exciting.
Okay, so basically, why make money on YouTube, Danny? Why would you try to be doing that? Why would you try to be making money on YouTube?
Well, there's money to be made on YouTube. You can produce a video. They put ads around it that normally, I say normally because I've got a wee bit of an example here, is sort of around your content. So the other day, there was a Ponzi scheme being advertised on my YouTube channel because I'm trying to bust people who are running Ponzi schemes. And I was actually I didn't like that. I think that was actually a bit off, because I knew that it was one of those click funnels, sign up here, get rich quick, put your name here, fill out this. And if you don't fill out that form in 3 hours and 28 seconds, you're going to miss out on an opportunity of a lifetime. And I thought, what the heck? And then you realize why, there's some things that you don't like. But yeah, there's money to be had. There's money to be had. So why not go after it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a lot of people are having a look at the IT wave, the AI wave, the exchange of information. And basically, when you go onto YouTube, there's heaps of reasons why people could go onto YouTube. Could be there to be entertained, informed, maybe socializing, whatever it is. And if you can do that really well, then you get rewarded for it. And if you get rewarded for it, money equals time. So you got more time to come back and do it even more. So there's obviously a strong argument for trying to make money on YouTube. And of course, making money on YouTube comes from predominantly ad revenue, but it doesn't only come from ad revenue. So Danny, do you focus on ad revenue?
Not really. I think at the start, when I got my first paycheck from YouTube, it was quite exciting. But now I don't actually even look at it. It doesn't pay the bills. There's a little bit of money. It's a token gesture for the work I do. So I don't really look at it. I quite like, when I got the first. I'll tell you guys, like, I struggled to get my first 1,000 visits, and when I got my first 1,000 visits, I was doing a lot of I don't even know how to do it, videos on a real hot topic. And I got $1,200 in my first month. And I thought, wow, that's the first month of being monetized. Next month, I'll just keep going at this pace. But the next month went back to about $400. And now I sit around about $300 or $400 a month in ad revenue. So, it got me excited, but didn't start paying the bills. Yep.
Yeah, and you've actually raised an interesting point. What does it take to get monetized? It takes that you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours view time on your videos. So if you don't reach that, I think there's a kind of intermediate step now. I think if you get 500 subs and 3,000 hours, I'm not too sure what it is now, but I know there's an intermediate step. But I don't think you actually get money, but you get something else. But yeah, 1,000 subs, 4,000 hours. So if you hear anybody go, please hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, then it basically, the like and share enhances how often your videos are viewed out there or pushed out by YouTube. And of course, subscribers is going to help the person get monetized and seen. I do focus on ad revenue, at least I will be for this conversation, because the other things like super chats, in fact, you would know more than me about this, Danny. There are other ways without going into sponsorship or anything else like that. But there is Patreon as well, where people sign up to Patreon and they basically support your channel. But you can join memberships as well, can't you, on YouTube?
Yeah, there's quite a few things you can do to get a little bit extra. I saw a guy in a Trans Am driving around LA with a camera on the front of his car, and he was basically listening to police scanners, and he was just turning up at all the scenes that the police were, and people were giving them super chats, and I would see $100, $50, $20, and people can basically were throwing money at him, and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's got the ultimate dream, you know. So, you know, and I think I've earned $150 in a day from super chats. And a lot of people supported me by hitting the super chat button. So if you've got great content, or you've got a great story, or maybe I have some days had such a bad day that people have taken pity on me, because I actually try to be really transparent on what I'm doing. And, you know, if I'm struggling financially, I'll tell people. And then all of a sudden you get a bit of money, and it's quite good. So I can only assume that if you did have a channel where you were not just looking for ad revenue, but you maybe gave a lot of value to people, or you may be doing some workshop or some training that people find that was really good. I'm no good at sales, but if I said to people, hey, look, you know, if you're enjoying the video, you know, why don't you give us a super chat, give us $1. It might not be much for you. I just don't like doing that. But when I do it, people do give me money, and it is a way of getting a bit of extra money out of your YouTube channel. And I think, you know, and I think it's fair. I think, you know, like if you went to a movie, or if you went to a busker on the stage, you know, some of the stuff I'm doing is quite dangerous. You know, I'm going after these scammers, and people just listen to me rave on day in, day out. But they don't ever think that if I was listening to a busker and they said, give me $5, they'll flick out $5. I don't know if it's the technology, but in saying that, I have actually made probably 40% of the money I've made on my YouTube channel has been from people throwing money at me. I mean,
Excellent.
you know,
Yeah.
so that's another way of getting money straight away.
That concept of performing, being a busker, was one of the things that popped into my head just before you said that, because basically, yeah, you're performing a show and somebody likes the show, then they're going to pay you. Interestingly, if you're a YouTube Premier subscriber, then if you watch any videos, then you help to support any of the content creators like Danny and myself. And if you are an advertiser as well, then obviously those ads run every time an ad shows, then that's Danny and Rob getting. I've kind of worked this out really loosely. I haven't done my research, but I will do. It's around about 1 cent a view, give or take. There was a lady who did a video who asked the question, how much money does a YouTuber get paid for 1 million views? And it's around about $10,000. So it's not a huge amount of money, because it's very, very difficult to get 1 million views. And it's just on here that it says that ChatGPT says ad revenue is a passive income stream, but may not be the most lucrative on its own. Diversification is key. And one of the things to think about is that if you create a video today, which some people may want to watch in 1, 2, 3, or 10 years time, that every time they do, if you're monetized, then that's passive income. Should we focus on genre? And I'll just explain that just for our viewers. The importance of niche and audience targeting and maximizing engagement and revenue. So in other words, if you've got a singer, you could have a rock band, you could have a country band, you could have a grunge, hip hop, anything like that. So it's a particular genre. Now, Danny, your genre seems to be crypto Ponzi schemes. Is that where you think you should focus if you want to make the most money on YouTube? Or do you think you should just create the best videos, or at least the ones that will get you the most clicks?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to go after the Ponzi schemes, because I've got a story that goes behind that. But I think I had to think about it. It's definitely not well, in saying that, when I was doing the Ponzi schemes on Hyperverse, my videos would get up to, anything from 3,000 to 8,000 views within a week. And I probably didn't value that traffic at the time. But these days, it seems like I've fallen out of favor with, because I had that lawsuit. My lawyer said, oh, lay low for a couple of months while we, figure out this court case that you've got to go through. I took the wind out of my sails, and I've never really got back the traffic I used to have, but nor the scam that I was busting wasn't as big. The ones we're doing today aren't as big as Hyperverse. It was a $1.9 billion scam, and I was right on the tail of it, and I was talking to all the big people that were running it. So in saying that, the answer to that is, I've forgotten the question. What was the question?
Do you focus on a genre? And of course, what you're basically saying is that when you're doing Hyperverse, you did focus on a genre. You're still focusing on a genre, but it's not getting you the traction that it used to.
No, and I have looked at other videos. Like you encouraged me to do a video about how to tie your tie. Now, I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I used to put a tie on, 3 to 5 times a week. And then you showed me this video where this guy's tying a tie that was done like in 1981. And I thought, I can do, with all my flash gear, my tying skills, I could produce a video. And I think to date it's had 150 views.
Okay. So
yeah,
that's interesting. Yes.
But that video is probably marinating in Google and will probably one day take off in a hurry, and we'll never know why. Just wanted to say that. And that's what we hope for.
Yes. And one of the reasons why I encouraged Danny to have a go at tying a tie just randomly wasn't necessarily because tying a tie was like the video to do, but there's a video that I've done about the Apple mouse that would automatically zoom. So you're watching your screen and it would just zoom in. And then every time you tried to hit, I think it's Command minus to zoom it back out, it would never quite go back to where it was. And it was really, really frustrating. So I decided, if this is annoying me, I'm going to try to find a problem. Try to find a problem for it. Yeah. I had a problem, find a solution for it. I did a video. It was horrendous. I got less than a view a day for the first 100 days, and now it's my most popular video. So you just don't know when they're going to take off, or even if they're going to take off.
How long? Because you had that for ages. How long before it took off?
It took over 100 days, over 3 months to get to 100 views.
So there's hope for my tie ones yet.
Yeah, and now it's, in fact, your tying is far more successful than my one was at the start. And the interesting thing is that as long as there's a magic mouse, someone could potentially have that zoom problem. And as long as there's ties that need to be tied, somebody could potentially go and have a look at it. So I don't focus on genre. I have been lately because I wanted to focus on one thing, which was around crypto as well. But I wanted to focus on that so I could nail it, entertain myself. It was probably easy because the content was there. But to be perfectly honest, going forward, I am going to focus on clicks, not because I'm focusing only on the money or anything. And I don't even think there's anything wrong with that. But I see clicks as me giving value to somebody, because if they weren't getting value, they wouldn't click on it. So
do you enjoy YouTubing, Rob?
I love YouTubing. In fact, coming up is one question where, how can I take an idea that has popped into my head and get it onto a video in the shortest possible time? But we'll come to that. So that genre, you say yes, possibly, and I say yes, possibly, but it's not my focus. It's got on here, this is a thought, because I asked ChatGPT for any thoughts, not that it's supposed to think. But it said, choosing a focused genre can help build a loyal audience, but versatility can also attract a wider audience.
We've got 14 people listening to us as we recorded this session live right now. What do you think, because you're on my YouTube channel, what other genre of stuff could I come out with that you'd still listen to me? Are you here because you like listening to Danny de Hek, aka the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger? or you're here because you're starving for knowing whether a Ponzi scheme or a scam is true and genuine, or are you hoping that we've got some latest updates for you? I mean, because it is actually quite an interesting scenario. Is like, like I believe that people are here because they enjoy my intellectual words and the way I express myself and the things I come out and say, or the way I say it, because even I think I'm a bit quirky, and I'm not trying to be quirky, but because I'm dyslexic and I get things wrong, I think sometimes that's quite entertaining for people. So I think I'm quite unique.
Yes, I actually wrote down here just because you said that, and this is actually like I am literally doing this.
We just lost 5 people. After that rant, I lost 5 people.
I am literally writing down, because I am doing this to brainstorm, my own due diligence moving forward. But I wrote down, are people listening to the content, or are they listening to the presenter? And the other thing is that even when we get views, we don't always know why we got them, because that's an interesting thing, because every now and again you could get 1,000 views on something, or even 10,000 like Danny has, and you think, I didn't think that was such a good video. How come everybody's watching it?
Now, this is the thing you mentioned before, and I think it'd be good to go back a little bit. I know that when they've got a launch and they've got something that's going to be released, and if we piggy bank and do a live at that same time, and let's say you had 380 people in your chat room one day,
mm-hmm.
and that was because you were providing a service that people couldn't get. So your water bottle is transparent. That's really cool.
Fantastic, eh? Look at that.
Yeah, it's quite neat. I quite like that. So I think, so people tuned into you because they wanted to hear the announcements. They couldn't find it anywhere else. They scrambled around the internet, and you just happened to be there at the right time. And I remember seeing that 380 people in your chat room, and I thought, I won't say what I said, but I would not. I've been doing this for 3 years, and this friggin' and I had about 50, and I was doing all right, but you really creamed it that day. And that was quite cool. But that's another thing you could do. I know I was talking to one YouTuber, and he said he only goes after the celebrities to do videos on because that's where the traffic is. And I think if you want traffic, there's other ways of getting traffic. But I just don't, we're going after little wee shit Ponzi schemes, which are taking millions of dollars from people. And we know the intricacy of them. But at the end of the day, people aren't searching for Shabbos. People aren't searching for We Are or Satoshi. Or whatever we're busting at the time. So we could go after the CoffeeZilla, the Paul Hogan's, or the Hogan Paul, whatever his name is. If, we could do videos, but I think I'd have probably more lawsuits than I have, so it is a hard one to do. Like, do you go after the traffic, or do you go after what you're versed in?
Right, next question. Importance of a good title, and I'll just read out what ChatGPT has put here. How titles impact click-through rates and discoverability. And it's a thought here that ChatGPT has got. A compelling title is crucial. It's the first impression your video makes. So for me, I'll just answer this question. I know that I want to put in there as much information in as fewer words as possible. And one of the interesting things about titles that I've realized is that titles change on visibility or viewability depending on what device someone's looking at it. If you're looking at YouTube on a mobile device, it kind of shrinks down. It's a lot larger if people are viewing it on a desktop, laptop, or on an iPad. So I think there's quite a lot of people who look at titles, scroll through YouTube videos and make a choice based on a title, but they don't see the full title on a mobile. What do you think, Daniel?
Yep, I think it's like a snake's head. So the head is very important. So the very first few words that you have in your title, because I listen to these guys, is it Think Media? And they have like millions of people on their YouTube channel, and they said they sit there and have board meetings about the first 50 characters that they have, because that is the everything. Because most people are on mobile phones, most people only see the first 50 characters. So what I did is I went through my videos and I tourniqueted them all back to, big word, back to 50 characters. And I thought, well, now I'm doing what the big boys are doing. And I tell you what, it actually hurt my YouTube channel, because what I do now and what I had been doing, you're allowed 100 characters for a title. I literally would keep going until I used every single character. It wouldn't be 99, it would be 100. And then I would put an and, I'd put an exclamation mark at the end, I'd rejig it. And, so I went backwards, and it's only been in the last 3 or 4 weeks that I've redone the titles the way I was doing them, because I want to have as much information in that title about what I'm about to talk about. I want to have the name of the Ponzi scheme. I want to have the name of the people. I want to have the problem. I want to have the solution. I want to have who's running the podcast. And honestly, my traffic has actually gone back up again, and I'm quite happy with it. Now, I'm a blogger, and I've got over 1,000 blogs on my website. I basically have installed some software, and it basically tells me how to get 100% score. And you can listen to everyone else's guidance, but the honest truth of it is practical experience outweighs everything. I've just produced a blog which is called Name and Shaming Everybody who's involved in a Ponzi scheme, and I've tagged everybody, and it's friggin' brilliant. The last 3 videos I've done, if you search for those people's name, my blog will come up. If I embed that YouTube video into my blog and use the same title, I get multiple takes in the search results. So my take on it is, do whatever you make your title the most descriptive thing you can. Put all the important stuff at the start. If it gets tourniqueted off in a mobile phone, you will still see those 50 characters, and you might see 47 characters and ... But hopefully you've sent your message, because when you search YouTube, you will find the last part of your title and the first part of your title in the search results regardless. So you get a double hit at the cherry. Don't lose out. If you have a glass of water and it's full 50%, it's a waste of time. Fill it right up to 100%. And then you'll still get to drink the whole lot. That's my take.
Interesting. I see it. I think I've changed. I used to go for the full 100 characters because that's the maximum. But now I actually think, well, I'll tell you one thing that I do. I now usually have like a working title that I stick on an upcoming video. So because I do lives, you can actually put like a placeholder up for lives that are about to stream in like an hour or a few hours or a day. So I put a working title, the best title that I can come up with, stick that on. But once I've done the video, I may actually find that in the act of doing the video, something really important came up, or some part of what I was talking about kind of sprang up that I didn't think of. And I think, oh yeah, well, that's actually the key thing. So I might go back immediately after the live is finished, change the title. But for me, I think of impact, words that are going to create impact, consistency, that basically convey exactly what I spoke about in as few possible words as I can do. And I'm still trying to work out one other thing, and Danny touched on this about experience. It seems to be that if you stick up a title and your video uptake early on is really disappointing, there's a temptation to change it. And every time I've changed it, I think it confirms that that video is not going to do well. It's almost like YouTube can read that you're desperate, so you change the title. I don't think it matters too much if you change the title straight after you finish recording, but I think if you come back and change it a while after or keep changing it, not so good.
Yep. No, and one other thing I'd like to mention just quickly was the fact that Casey Neistat put a video up once with a dot on it, and he had like 1 million views on a dot. Well, I can't remember the video, but I remember it was something, instead of going to all the, so it just shows you. I mean, if you've got an active audience, it doesn't really, everything that we talk about now doesn't matter. But what we are talking about is search engine optimization. We're talking about if you search for a video and you find it, for example, if you search for boomerang, unfortunately, my videos don't rank like they used to. But when I was doing hyperverse videos, you would search, is hyperverse a scam? And I would pop up everywhere. And then you got to figure out now, if people are using YouTube, to search is one thing. If they're using Google, it's another thing. So now I used to use my podcast, my website, and YouTube, and I used to scattergun my information everywhere. And so somebody might find a Twitter post, and that comes up in the results. Somebody might find me on Reddit. They might find my Telegram, or they might find Telegram, but they'll find other things that lead me back to my videos. So it's like a spider with many legs.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that I hadn't thought about where you place or where you market, or where you market your content. Whether you have like a Facebook page, I know some people have a Facebook page, although people seem to be going away from Facebook and onto something like Twitter so that they can engage a lot easier with their audience. So the moment that they drop a video on YouTube, it gets shared onto LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and all of those other things that I know that Daniel, you live stream multiple channels at the same time, don't you?
Let me read them off. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Kick, and Rumble. I'm streaming right now.
Yes, my apologies to Elon Musk for calling X Twitter again.
He must hate that, eh?
Oh, he must. I know he listens. He listens.
X doesn't have, it's one of 26 letters in the alphabet. So maybe if he got A or B, C.
Oh, I know. It was a poor word choice. But of course, he's got SpaceX. And did you know that PayPal used to be called X.com?
No. So he's gone back to something.
Yeah. So X is this thing. Pretty sure that's right. Anyway. Oh, here's a start of a 10 for any of our audience out there. What was the original working name of Amazon?
I've heard this before, but I've forgotten again.
Relentless.com. So if you type in relentless.com, you'll go straight to Amazon. So that was, I think, Jeff Bezos's first idea of what he was going to call Amazon before he basically called it Amazon. Could have been A as well. It could have been, I was going to say Xmazon if it had been, like a partnership with Elon Musk. Next question. Content.
Just before you get in there, I just want to say thanks to Susie, who's in the audience here, that's been poking out a few questions, and I've been putting them up on the screen. We will talk about software, but engaging with your audience also helps grow your audience. And if you ask your audience to do things, they could also help increase the traffic to your website. For example, Susie is really good at tapping the love heart button. Now, on TikTok and Instagram, if you hit the love hearts, it tells them that the content that you're producing at the moment is actually good content. And I believe that then they send it out to the masses more. So it's just a thing. I don't even know if it's right, but it makes a bit of sense to me that if you get engagement while people are listening, I think then YouTube pick it up and go, let's share this out to the greater audience. Could be a theory. But thank you, Susie, for being here. Keep tapping that friggin' heart.
And I think the good thing is that there's so many things because of the secret algorithms we don't totally know the answer to. But if you just keep on experimenting, it's kind of like your brain will connect dots. Sometimes they connect dots wrong, but you'll find that out. But just keep trying new things and see what results you get. Next question, content, passion, or analytics? Which one do you think that is the best thing to go for, to use, to abuse, to make money on YouTube? And what ChatGPT says about this is balancing personal passion with data-driven insights for content strategy could be the way to go. What do you think, Danny?
Content is king every single time. I mean, we starve for content. We're always looking for content. I think I know this person that's just popped up on the screen. Yeah. Are you from Brazil? Brazil? I think so. Where are you from, mate? I think I know. Is this your, I think I should know. I haven't got my chat box. See, this is another thing we haven't done. So yeah, I think content's everything. We're going to talk about evergreen later on. However, if you've got good content, like we talked about earlier, that some of those videos that sit there dormant, all of a sudden become, statistically great because they are evergreen content, and then they snowball into traffic. You know, and like my brown trout fishing video, if you search my YouTube channel, you'll see that there's a video of a brown trout getting gutted by my mate, and I filmed it on my cell phone and I uploaded it before I left. You know, I didn't use a studio and blah 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 blah. There's some reason Google loves that video. Yeah, so I haven't figured it out yet, but
yeah, it's an interesting one. I totally agree that you got to have good content. You got to have content that keeps on coming. There's an editor who used to work for a professional big name YouTuber who said you need to cut all the fat to the bone. So whenever they're editing, if there's content and then there's a little bit of fat or downtime or an arm or forward and then more content, everything gets sliced out. So you'll see a lot of the professional YouTubers, they have hard cuts. That's one thing that they do because they want a lot of content. The other thing is that they want to keep up the passion and the energy moving forward. And so that it obviously helps if you've got some passion or interest in what your topic is. And so you're engaging and enthusiastic. But what I'm really curious about, and I haven't really started, I've dived into it a little bit. I know that Danny got me into having a look at the analytics, and I have a look at the analytics because I've got a business degree, and a lot of that was really focused on analytics. What I want to do going forward is actually let the analytics lead me rather than lead the analytics. What do the numbers tell me? Where do they lead me to?
That's where we're different. My partner loves analytics. And I must just say that I can't read your name out. I'm going to get the computer to read it out. Despite this.
Damascarando Mentiris.
Damasco Manto Memories. The guy that's just popped into the channel, ladies and gentlemen, he's got 22,000 subscribers. He's got 509 videos on the internet. I've got 1,400 videos and I've got 7,500. So I think you could offer us a lot of advice because I saw a YouTuber the other day that had 1,600 videos and 1,100 subscribers. So, quantity over quality. And also, are you doing live streams? Because live streaming is a different monster. And we are struggling with that at the moment because when we do live streams, we don't get the same audience. It's like your audience is capitulated when you click live, and I have literally done 24-hour streams. I average around about 2 or 3 hours on a normal stream, and my audience seems to be captivated in that real 2 or 3 hours, and then after that video it seems to just die. So now what we're doing is we're chopping up those lives and releasing them as actual I might even download them and remix them into a still video, what we call still video. So you've probably got a lot of advice to offer us right here because you've got 3 times more traffic subscribers than we have. Now, in saying that, I just want to say some other things. We're in New Zealand, and it sucks being a New Zealander because I think they just keep us within our little 5 million people in New Zealand audience. They don't put us out to the international audience. So I think that's also something that I'd be curious to know. Like you're in Brazil, and you have a bigger audience. I'm not saying that's why your channel's doing well. I'm just saying, is it easy? Did you struggle to get 22,000 subscribers, or did you pay for them? That's just yeah. If you want to pop on stage, you could always. You're more than welcome to. But anyway, carry on, Rob. Sorry, I just want to bring that up.
His name is Will, and Mascarando Mentiras means unmasking lies. Hello, Shirley, and hello, Susie. Great to have you on board. Yeah, so I would like to watch the analytics and really interpret them better. That's an interesting thing that you were saying about doing a longer video and breaking it down so that you can actually produce some shorter videos, maybe multiple shorter videos from that one long video, and maybe shorts as well. So that's another way of quickly and efficiently creating extra content, whether that helps, whether that's worth the time. The only way you're going to work that out is by doing it. And does the accent or location help or hurt? I know that Australians, because I watch a lot of tech videos and my daughter watches a lot of videos. A lot of Australians have got mega channels, like really big channels. So it hasn't hurt them. Sometimes it's very hard to tell whether it's a Kiwi or an Australian because the accents can be very, very similar sometimes, depending on what part they came from. Next question. What are your greatest assets and how can you use them to make money?
Well, I think my biggest asset is probably the fact that I have a very short memory span. The fact that I'm a bit quirky, suppose. I'm authentic. I like to think. I'm also doing things that you shouldn't do. Like you don't go up to a big, dirty, mean scammer and poke him in the face and call him a scammer and publicize him all around the world as a, I think I'm Danger Mouse. I mean, I do find that I'm unique, and I think like I've had people push me in to do things, and why don't you do this? But I don't have any fear when it comes to ringing up people. Like I'll tell you what I did today. I rang up Yvonne Murray 5 times today as a lady been busting, and I left messages on her answer machine that I probably wouldn't put on air. Now I've done that because I can't stand the lady, and I have a personal vendetta against her. Now in a normal world, people might say, well, that's that's not very ethical, and maybe that's not a good idea. And I go, that lady's I won't say, but she's disgusting. And I personally think people see my passion, and they see my sincereness. And I'm not doing this for clicks. I'm doing it because I think that lady is a disgusting individual and she doesn't have any right to do what she does. So maybe that follows through. I don't want to think I'm a puppet and getting manipulated by people who taunt me to do things. But even now and again, it hits me like a ton of bricks. Like I just wrote to Julie Anderson, a lady who's been rampant at being a multi-level marketer for 5 years. She did 3.5 years worth of videos. Every single day she got on there and promoted multi-level marketing. And she's turned herself around. And now she is just an advocate at exposing multi-level marketing companies. And she's an effing legend, And all of a sudden, she's done no videos for 6 weeks. So I'm concerned about her. I've emailed her today. And then I found her last interview. She was on with this lady. So I hadn't seen this lady before. And then I checked out this lady and she hates multi-level marketing. So I reached out to her and I sent this lady 10 messages basically saying, we need to hook up. We need to make some noise about multi-level marketing. What's happened to Julie? And I think because I'm, I'm so hell-bent in making a difference and stopping these scammers, I think that helps me. I think that's my strength. And I hope that's my strength, and I hope I don't look like an idiot because I actually feel like I don't care. I'll put everything into exposing these bastards, and I think that's why I've got the support that I do, and a lot of people support what I do.
Right. Well, I kind of need to recover from that one. Bit of passion there when he comes to when Danny was coming to his greatest assets. I don't have anything anywhere near as passionate as that. I did follow your lead, so I thought I do feel I got at least some personality, whether it's a good or a bad or in between. I'm not too sure. Authenticity, my voice. I think my voice is at least reasonable. And I think I can be, and you did jog my focus here on a few things. I would like to be disciplined and turn that into an asset. I'd like to think that you and I have a point of difference in various ways without going into it too much. And I put down stamina and focus, but also you reminded me towards the end, depending on what we're talking about, it could be experience and knowledge of the topic. And I think that if you're talking about something that you do know about, you may be able to drop a sentence or two or a fact or two that not many people would know. And that just adds that little bit of icing on the top. ChatGPT says identifying unique strengths and leveraging them effectively. So it's kind of a waste of time having a great asset, but you don't use it or you don't leverage it. And the thought that it has here is that personal authenticity and expertise are invaluable assets that can set your channel apart. And if your channel does have a point of difference, then it kind of rises up. And I do notice that when I search for certain reviewers myself, there's some reviewers that have got big followings. They just don't stick with me for some reason, whether it's their thumbnails or their name or whatever. And then there's some others that I just watch all the time. Like there's a guy called Casey. Oh, I've forgotten his last name, but he's got a channel called Camera Conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
And he's funny as hell. And he reviews cameras and he basically rubbishes the whole lot. And he's really funny doing it. Nobody really takes him that seriously, but you do respect that he is actually quite knowledgeable. But he does it for fun. And his personality really shines through. The next question is...
His videos are real bad though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are rough as guts. They really are. And an interesting thing is Mr. Beast, I think God asked a while ago about, because he's huge. Is he the biggest interneter? YouTuber? I think he is.
Yeah.
His range of cameras are all handhelds, or at least they were the last time I watched. They're all handheld cameras. He doesn't use any big rigs or anything like that because he wants to celebrate his roots, or maybe what he believes YouTube is, which is the haven for where amateurs, anybody can grab a camera and have a go. So I think that's quite cool. Have a look at his production. Obviously edits them really well, but you'll see that it's not... he kind of leaves a little bit of that amateurish in there, but that's part of who Mr. Beast is. So managing our greatest weaknesses, Danny, and it says acknowledging and mitigating challenges such as consistency or inconsistency, time management, or technical skills. How do you manage your weaknesses?
Not very well. For some reason on the top of this channel, we've got a love heart. How do I get that love heart? Because I see that every now and again. How do people give me the love heart? Can you see that up there? There's a love heart. And I don't think you get that from YouTube. I've always wondered how people give me those love hearts. Somebody just gave me a love heart.
I can't see it.
The question again, because my short attention span, how do I handle the negatives?
Managing your greatest weaknesses.
Well, I do wear my heart on the sleeve, and I do take criticism to heart, and there's no doubt about it. And I think my nature is to please everybody, but the reality is you just can't be all things to all people. So I think that's managing that as like my channel is my door to the world. I like being a YouTuber. I like having an opinion. I like making a difference. So when I get a bit of criticism, I do struggle to take it. And I will say what the obvious is. Danny can't take criticism. Danny doesn't want feedback. But I kind of do. It's just how I process that information and whether I think the criticism can be applied without it being a painful process or having to reinvent the wheel. And sometimes the criticism comes from people that haven't got the experience that I may have. So I take that really hard. Like people say to me, oh, like we just had a lovely comment from Shirley. I'm going to pull you out, Shirley, put you in front of the stage here. And Shirley says 20 minutes is enough as people's attention span is 0 these days. And that is so true. However, my long form content has actually been the strength of my channel. And also, because I have produced so many videos, I were editing videos for 10 hours and rendering them for 3 hours and uploading them for another 3 hours and then marketing them. And now I've discovered this new thing where I just basically spend 15 minutes creating a fit thumbnail, another 15 minutes setting up like this thumbnail at the back here. That's me. I've learned how to cut out myself. I'm wearing the same shirt. And I said, Rob, I need a picture of you. He sent me a picture through the interweb. I went to Canva. I found that template. I didn't even change the words. I think it was how to make money on the something else. And then I just changed it to YouTube. And then I put a red thing. And then I thought I would need some money. And before we know it, I've got a thumbnail ready to rock and roll, and I'm good today rather than perfect tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So how do I handle the suggestions I get from people who I want to please? I find it very difficult, because I want to please all people. However, the more I do this YouTube thing, the better I have got. And the more I listen to people and I try to apply, and I think I'm actually more on the railway lines these days than I ever have been. Like, I used to yell at people and I used to spit down the microphone and have these arguments with people. And I was on the phone today with a guy, and I started to go down that track of yelling down the phone saying, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And then I pulled myself back and thought, no, I don't want to be that person. I want a methodical conversation. I want a good, clean argument. I want to be heard, and I want to get my message delivered. And by doing these YouTube videos, I believe I'm a better person than I were 3 years ago. Boom!
Cool.
Drop that mic. Drink that beer.
Yes. Well, with my weaknesses, my obvious one is stuttering, which a lot of people, I wouldn't say piss me off by saying, well, we've never seen it. Because when you stutter, the stutter's kind of in your head. If there's a repetition, which you can see every now and again on my videos, and sometimes actually more than now and again on my videos, it's kind of how you feel on the inside, because you kind of feel all choked up and stuff. And it's that you have a look at, like, I was looking at some of these questions earlier, and I thought, I wonder if I'll actually get that out. And I have to use technique, and that takes a lot of effort and energy and mental awareness and application and stuff, but that's fine. So that's basically how I managed that one. Going live, the first time I went live, I freaked myself out. I was speaking too fast. I ran out of breath, had to slow down and take my breath and get some pace into it, slow the pace down. So yeah, all of these things you can manage. Lack of time, I'd love to have more time to prepare. But then I realized the more time that you take to prepare, the more perfect you envisage the outcome being. And that needs even more time, and then more time and more time. And the more time you take, you're saying, oh, I should really do that, because that's, like about a 5 out of 10. I should make that a 7 out of 10. So you make it a 7 out of 10, and then you think, oh, it's still shit. I should make it an 8 out of 10. And before you know it, you're pissed around with something that your audience probably doesn't even notice. So how do I get around lack of time? I go live, and I force myself to go live because I schedule my lives at like 10:30. And at 10:25, I might think, oh my God, I need half an hour. But no, I'm going to go live in 5 minutes. Occasionally 10, I might be 5 minutes late.
I think you're better on your feet. I've watched you speak hundreds of times, and I'm like when we're in face-to-face stuff, and you just stand up like you had. We go to speakers. I've got to do a 20-minute speech next Tuesday. It's what we call speakers group, and it's about impromptu speaking. And I purposely will not prepare for it, and I'll stand up and I'll probably do something either silly or I haven't ever stuffed up, but you do the same. You can just stand there and on cue do like you had a speech. Now I should remember what it was about, but you did a training session where you broke us all into groups and did that thing last time. And it was like I haven't heard you do it before, and you'll come up with stuff I've never heard you do before, and nail it. And I'll just say one other thing, Rob. You talk about your stuttering. Now you come around to my place and we have a few beers together, and you will stutter. And I sit here and I go, oh my God, and I actually like it when you stutter, because I know that you're relaxed and you don't have to have game card on. You don't have to be game face. You're just sitting there relaxing and speaking naturally and feel like there's no pressure. Because there's a guy in our speakers club at the moment who's new, and he stutters, and he doesn't even. He I don't know what you call it, but he does not even make any excuses for his stuttering. It's like I don't know what that's called, But
Yeah,
he's overcome
he's
the
an
fear.
overt stutterer. He's an overt stutterer, and he basically doesn't care. And that's actually a great place to be in. Like, you might care a little bit on the inside because everybody wants to be better at whatever it is that they're doing. But yeah, he's an overt stutterer. I'm a covert stutterer. Sometimes I'll substitute words. Try not to, particularly when I'm on a live like this. And I'll just say that one of the other weaknesses that I have, I think, is I've got too many ideas. And when you have too many ideas, you are never short of ideas. You're actually not too sure which one to run with. How I got round that and how I actually became monetized, how I got to my 1,000 subscribers, because it looked like I was never going to get there, to be perfectly honest. I just
You were stuck on
decided
390 for bloody friggin' months.
I was there forever. And I just decided around about Christmas time, I'm going to do a video every day. That's it. Even if it's shit, even if I'm away, even if I just have to pull out my camera and just stand there and go live and speak for like one idea that came into my head for 3 minutes. And that's what I did. And that got me started. That got me through all of this perfectionist overthinking stuff like that. And the other thing, going live was a great breach of comfort zone. I don't think I was doing it that well at the start, but I think I got a little bit better at it as you go on. And that's the whole thing. Best exercise for running is running. Best exercise for YouTubing is YouTubing. Next question, Daniel.
Okay, we're up to Rob. What number is it?
Number 8. What role do you think you can, or what role in monetizing or making money out of YouTube do you give to ChatGPT and other AI tools?
No, boy, I'll try to keep this really short. ChatGPT is amazing for me. I use it like a calculator. So if I have a lot of key commands set up on my computer because I'm dyslexic. So if I write a paragraph twice in a week, I'll have it set up on my computer. For example, if I want ChatGPT to write me a description for my YouTube channel, I literally type in the word YouTube and D, and then it comes up with write me a description for my YouTube channel, no more than 500 characters. I'm Danny de Hek, aka the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. I'm here to name and shame anyone running or promoting a Ponzi scheme. My YouTube channel is all about saving mum and dad investors from, losing their money to crypto scams. And every time I have that as a key command, I sit that in there, and then I say, today's video is about Rob and Danny, who are going to be talking about ways to make money on a YouTube channel. Here are the questions that Rob just sent me. Put them in there. Please write me a description. And then boom, out comes the description. If you look in the description of this video, you'll see what I've got. Now, I take it to another level. I will then use that description, and if I have time, I'll put that into a blog on my website. I use, if I'm going to do a voiceover on a short video, I'll use ChatGPT. There's another thing out there at the moment. You can put a video link into a platform and it will write you a blog on what that video is about. And then I'll use that blog to write my YouTube description that I'm about to do a voiceover on. So I kind of live on ChatGPT, and I think it's actually fantastic. Now, as for getting facts and information right, that's another thing. But from somebody who's dyslexic, who's so nervous about people criticizing them, I use it for spelling and grammar. Yesterday, I did a video, and it was on this guy called Rob Buster. Now, in my brain, I go Rob Buster, so I spelled his name Buster. I was all ready to go live, and then I realized I'd spelled his name wrong. There was no T. And it was Buster. So I had to redo all my graphics, my whole everything, I'd even gone into ChatGPT and asked me who Rob Buster is. And it come out and told me that he was known in crypto and blah, blah, blah. But it also, I had the spelling wrong. So then I had to go back to GPT and say, who is this guy? So now what I'm using ChatGPT to do, if I'm going to do a story about some crypto guy like Sam Lee or Rodney Ford or anyone that's involved in crypto, I will ask it to give me a snippet on each of those persons, and then I'll get all those snippets in a row, and then I'll go back to ChatGPT, give it my command, and tell it to write me a description about the video I'm about to do. Now I have fantastic content that literally comes up in the search engines when people search. So I just love ChatGPT. It's a godsend. I used to be asking my partner every 10 minutes how to spell a word. I don't think I've asked her how to spell a word for friggin' ages. So to me, it's everything. And I think you should use things like this while they exist and why there's a bit of an advantage there. Don't snigger when they get it wrong. I mean, but you can write a 5,000 word description, YouTube description, or you can sit there like a friggin' two-fingered typist and type up a description like Rob does, because I know you don't use it as much as I do, because you can spell. But to me, if you look at my description of my videos, I think they're friggin' awesome. And I think the search engines will also think it's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, I don't use it for descriptions only because I want really short ones and to get the description out really fast. That's all part of going live, because the actual biggest hold up in going live is actually to set up your video.
And I
And
could write you a description faster than you could, Rob.
yeah, but I want to have a short description because that description will probably change once I've done the video and I come back, and I just want to go through all of the checklists, and there's literally too many things that you need to do before you go live, because we would like to go live in 5 seconds, bang, and have a title out there and stuff, but you can't do it. You got to go through and do a description, how to video, click heaps of boxes under 18, all this kind of carry on. But in terms of ChatGPT, what I find it is really good at, it's a little bit like analytics, but different. That I was just wondering when you were talking, what it would be like if you delegated a lot of the decision making to ChatGPT. Like, for example, I run another business, and I was thinking, I am applying a certain strategy, it's a loose strategy to that business. What would that look like if I'd actually used ChatGPT? But in terms of YouTubing and making money, ChatGPT can do heaps of things. It can write scripts, it can edit scripts that you've written, it can tidy things up, it can rearrange them, it can provide you clarity, like it can miss something. Like, for example, every now and again you might create a video or an idea for a video, and if you've got a series of bullet points and stick it into ChatGPT, there could be glaringly obvious omissions that someone watching your video is going, oh, I watched your whole video and I was waiting for you to answer this question or give this answer, and you didn't. But ChatGPT has got a great ability, as long as you ask it the question the right way, to actually fill in the dots. But there's other things as well. Is it Descript that will help translate audio to script, which is good if you want to get all of the words out of your video and you may want to use those for a blog or something. There is Monica, which is linked to Google Chrome now, and it's a kind of a blue and purple circle type of smiley face type of thing that kind of just appears everywhere on Chrome once you download it. And that can you can actually give it a YouTube video and it will summarize it for you. So it's quite amazing what it does. I haven't used that too much, but I think that sometimes if you're short of time and you have an idea, you could throw it into ChatGPT and go, I want to create a 10-minute YouTube video on this. What would the talking points be? It'll rattle them off. And if nothing else, it's a great starting point. Yeah. And there's AI involved in Canva as well. And I know that you use Canva a lot for your thumbnails, but we'll get onto that a little bit later.
With the script thing was really quite good. I used the script for about 6 or 8 months, the paid version of it. But eventually ChatGPT just blown that into the weeds. And I used to literally get the script out of my videos. And when we used to do the think tank meetings where we had 20 people in a room and we did an hour-long meeting, I used to actually literally tell it to get the script out of the podcast, and then I used to literally get all the different voices in the podcast, and it would create a user for each. And then I used to link off to that user's profile. So that when I had a script, it would actually be a very powerful script where I could promote everyone that was participating in the meeting. And yeah, eventually I gave up on it because it was become too time consuming, but it was a very clever bit of software at the time.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting how technology moves. Like I used to see all those ads everywhere for Grammarly, and I actually wonder how well Grammarly is doing with ChatGPT coming along. And of course, ChatGPT is free. It's just got up here. Of course, ChatGPT has helped us structure these questions and also add a few talking points. One it says is AI. It's quite interesting that AI wrote this. AI can enhance efficiency and creativity, but human input is essential for authenticity. And that's what I find. Use AI to come up with some material, but always go through and edit it yourself to put that personal touch on. Here's a big one.
I think what you just said there is really important for people to think of that. I can read something and tell you it's written with AI.
You can,
Yeah,
particularly ChatGPT's got a kind of a style to it.
Yeah.
Susie
just
can
something.
actually make mistakes.
Susie just put a comment online as well. Analytics are a valuable tool, but they should be used. That's an interesting word.
I was waiting for you to come to that one.
I can't even say it.
Judiciously. I got to concentrate on that one myself.
Yeah.
Yes, analytics guide you, but don't let them dictate your entire creative process. Next question, importance of video quality, Danny. How production quality impacts viewer perception and retention?
Interesting. I don't think it's as important as they put focus on it. I've got a camera here. I can record in 4K. I now use StreamYard, and it goes on the internet, and every now and again I'm blurry. I'm not as crystal clear as I'd like to be. However, being able to stream to 8 different locations in one go outweighs. I'd rather be distributed at 80% the quality that I'd like rather than being perfect. If I recorded my videos, somebody commented the other day and they said, oh, you always sound a bit muffled. And I said, I'm a live streamer. I've got 3 Zoom connections open. There has to be a compromise. And I truly believe that you need to compromise. I mean, the best thing I really want is good sound every time, because I know that you guys aren't actually looking at me right now because I've got my fingers up my nose and you aren't seeing that, right? Or you are? Okay. But you know what I mean? It's like, so I think sound is most important. But I do think if in an ideal world, if we had a studio camera going right now, I've got a Sony A400. It's my favorite camera. It's my street photography camera. I love that camera. I'm looking at it, talking to you right now. It's fantastic. It's got a prime lens on it. I can go blurry and face. See, it just went blurry. It's quite good. And I love it, but I don't think it's everything. As long as even my lips, as I'm talking, aren't in sync anymore. I still do. I have this clicker thing, and I'd see a spike in the audio, and I'd look at the button, and as it went in, I would know that would be when I'd line up the audio exactly to that point, and then my lips would be in sync. I'm actually out of sync by 300ths of a second, and I can't fix it because I'm live streaming. But you guys put up with it. No one's ever complained about it. But originally, I'm sitting here going, trying to get the perfect sound, and but it doesn't really matter. No one's really complained. So you've just be good today rather than perfect tomorrow. I mean, when I get rich and famous and I get my big flash camera and I have a recording studio and a person behind the camera doing everything like Joe Rogan, then great. But in the meantime, don't let the little things stop you from doing shit.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. When I was starting YouTube, I had another camera, which was a Canon, I forgot, 650D or something like that, which is around about 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. And what I was trying to do in the studio was to get the color, not the color right, was to get the lighting right. And I could never do it because I realized the importance of light. You do have to have enough light on your subject, unlike what Danny's doing at the moment. You do need to have enough light on the subject to where there's no grain in the image. And that was a really big thing for me. As I spent months, months mucking around as an amateur, trying to work out actually what it was, and all of the things like aperture and focal length and all that kind of stuff was all foreign to me. I'm not a photographer. But what I realize now is that light, focus, and stability are the key things. You need to have enough light so that people can actually see enough. You need to have focus so that it's clear and it's not blurry, but because that'll hurt people's eyes and it'll just be distracting. And it needs to be stable. And I say it needs to be stable enough. Like if you're running or it's an action shot and it's a little bit jumpy or whatever, that's all part of it and it's perfectly fine. You'll see on some movies that the stability is not perfect. They don't use a steady cam all the time because they want a sense of urgency or action or movement or something like that. So that's what I found, and I agree with Danny. I can pick up my iPhone. I find iPhones absolutely fantastic. Probably any, in fact, iPhones have been really good for the last few years. This iPhone's about 2 or 3 years old now. It's perfect. I don't think that their camera technology has improved much in the last 2 or 3 years, and this is absolutely perfect. But yeah, they say that the best camera to use is the one you've got. The one that I'm recording with at the moment is also a Sony. It's not a Sony A6400 like Danny's, not A400, by the way. Mine's a Sony ZV-E10, which is, I think, an absolutely perfect studio camera. There's one thing that Danny was saying. How come those professional YouTubers do this other stuff? They seem to be clear or whatever. What they do, they have cameras that have got very good dynamic range. And what it means is that you see if I've got a wrinkle or something like that around my eyes or whatever, a really top camera will actually smooth that out in a way to where the image kind of looks soft, but it's actually a very good lens and a very good sensor that they are using. But you don't need it. And Casey Neistat has shown on his videos that people have produced full-length movies for cinemas on iPhones even. So, yeah, don't piss around trying to get excellent video quality would be my end thing. If you got a phone, go with a phone. It will be. In fact, 2 of my boomerang videos that were the most popular were when I was up with my mother for 2 days and I shot them on the camera on my laptop with a light overhead. So terrible light, but it was good enough. It was good enough. That brings us on to the next one, the importance of audio quality, Danny.
Yeah. Well, when the COVID was happening, I had a business networking company, and I just got into buy myself some good microphones. So this is a good microphone, and I wanted to record what I called our think tank meetings, and we sat in a room with 20 people, and I wanted to record it as a podcast. So fortunately enough, that happened just before COVID. So when COVID happened, I managed to take my good studio mic back home and realized that I'd bought the wrong microphone to record 20 people in a room, because this is called a dynamic microphone, and a dynamic microphone picks up on your voice. But I had a condenser microphone, which is used to record people who are playing a guitar music, and it picks up every single. So when I was recording my meeting, somebody would come in late and you'd hear high heels, or they'd sit there with their a spoon and keep touching the table with it, and you just hear the stupid spoon coming into the ding 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 ding. So when I got back home, and then I realized that these dynamic mics basically cut out background noise, so if I'm it's not too bad, but if I sit back here, you find that it's not really good. But if I get right here and talk dirty in the microphone, you get a sort of and at the end of the day, the sound's pretty much the same. But if I turn the sound up in the background at the moment, you might hear a bit of buffering because I've got some speakers in the background. And to me, when I'm talking, so you can play around a lot with a dynamic. But if that was a condenser mic, it would have been it took me a long time to get my sound right. And notice these things here. I don't like having headphones. So I can hear myself in here speaking, and it sounds quite nice. But I got sore ears having headphones. So I have this stupid, but this thing here, people go, what's that thing in the background? Well, that's the microphone that it comes with. And I could change the headset and get rid of the microphone, but it's quite handy when I want to do a voice prank on somebody. I can just plug in my iPhone and have this wee cable, and I plug that all in, and I can switch it all around and blah. But anyway, I think getting your sound right is quite a hard thing. Having echo is incredibly hard to get the sound right. Both Rob and I stuff up multiple times. I've been doing this for 3 years. I've got a PodTrack P8. No, I haven't. So I have. No, I've got a Zoom PodTrack P8 device on my desk that you can't see, and it's friggin' brilliant because I can have a phone call come in. I can turn Rob up and down. Yeah, and I forgot about that. Hey, welcome to the podcast, whatever. And I can play pranks on people. You know, so often you'll be talking to somebody and they'll say, that's have an elephant in the room. And I just think in time you can do it. But I didn't start with all this gear. I started with a Zoom H6, which is a mobile device that did basically everything I needed. However, when I started wanting to play a YouTube video and talk and take a phone call, it got a bit complicated. So I think if you can start with a headset, plug it into a phone, and you'll have brilliant sound. You have 85% of what we've got now. Or go out and buy a $1,000 microphone and a $1,000 gizmo to have on your desk, and then plug it all into a computer, and then get a camera, try to sync it all up, and you'll find that you've been the first 6 months of your YouTube career pulling your hair out trying to get it perfect. And then you'll realize the most important thing is good sound, because most people don't look at you all the time.
Yeah. Hey, look, I think there's a really interesting thing with sound. I used to watch a YouTuber called Podcastage. He's a young guy from Canada who used to review heaps of mics. And one of the questions that he used to get asked is, what is the best mic? And he said, there's no best mic. The important thing is that there's a mic that works well for your voice, but don't overcomplicate it. Because one of the things that when I'm thinking about this right now, about audio and video, is that does the video or does the audio distract the listener? Because if it's distracting, whether there's an echo, blurriness, shakiness, whatever it is, if it's distracting, you're not listening to what like that. You're not listening to what the person is saying. I experimented with the heaps of mics. I got a Shure SM7B, which is basically around about one of the best mics money can buy. All of heaps of professional YouTubers will have exactly this mic. Do I need it? No, I don't. I have used a Rode pod mic, and I'd say 90% same sound as this. I still don't think I've got the sound absolutely right, but I have got it better in the last 2 weeks. But one of the things is,
yours is fantastic now.
Yeah, well, what Danny was alluding to is that if you have a dynamic mic, which does need a preamp, which is a big issue if money is an issue, that it has a lot of rejection. So, for example, if you turn the mic around and you keep on talking and go, hello, my name is Rob Woolley, you'll see that when you're speaking from the back of the mic, you can hardly hear a thing. So anything around the room that's making a noise like me clicking my fingers is hardly heard through the mic because it just rejects the sound. But look, to be perfect,
I can try that. I just want to go like that, go over here now. So mine like terrible. I can hardly hear myself.
Yeah, you can hardly hear it.
And then I come in here and I'm like, hey, baby, how you doing?
Yeah, and yet the head of the mic, because they're directional, there is some, because the mic is a top address, which means you speak into the top. Some you speak into the side. You never ever speak into the back.
Yeah,
you always speak into the front. But if you had a condenser mic is kind of, can just pick up. They're a lot hotter. so they can pick up a lot more sound around the back of a mic or anywhere in the room. I used to have a condenser mic, and if my daughter walked through the hallway and opened up a door, even though my studio's shut, I could hear the door going like that. It was quite amazing.
So if you're out interviewing people, then you might have that mic, but for that reason, because you want to pick up him, and him.
Yeah. If you only had one mic and you had like 2 sources or 3 sources that you wanted to record, a condenser would be the way to go. If you had heaps of money, each of them obviously would have their own mic and a dynamic mic. But I think if I were to tell anybody the El Cheapo way, I'd just actually go back to what I started with, which was a lapel mic, a wired lapel mic. And if you've got a wired lapel mic or a condenser mic, you don't need a preamp. A preamp's extra money. Usually the dynamic mics are more expensive, but not always. But a condenser mic plugs straight into your laptop or your desktop or whatever it is that you're recording from. A lot cheaper and 80 to 90% of the same sound quality, everything else being equal. But one of the key things is that no matter what your mic is, the closer your mouth is to the mic, the better your sound will be. And as you move it away, you'll get more echo as my voice goes and hits all the walls and rebounds back into the capsule of the mic. Next question.
Just before that, those just want to say hello to Vanessa. I didn't see you in there before. Vanessa's she's even worked for us at one stage, worked for Helen, doing some of our orders. So I just saw you pop up there. It's nice to see. And also we did get a message back from Scully, who says she's a bit crazy today. Can't come and join us. She can only listen, so she's in another chat room. And that's really cool. Also, those wee mics are quite cool that you pin on. There's one that's made by what do they call it? DGI?
Oh, yes.
And that's a great way to start out too.
Yeah, or those Rode ones as well. And just an antique dealer tip here is that some name mics have really good resale value. If I sold this, I bought this mic secondhand. Apparently, mics don't wear out. Did you know that? Not many people know that. You can't actually wear a mic out. So even if it's like 10 years old, it'll, like, unless you dropped it or threw it somewhere, it'll be working exactly the same as it was. So you have a purchase mic, the purchase price, and then you have the price that you probably purchased it secondhand off of like an online auction site. And if you use it for 5 years and sell it again, you'll probably get all your money back. So basically it was free.
Yeah. The first mic I ever bought, and I think 90% of people will buy it, is a Blue Yeti mic. Do not buy a Blue Yeti mic. They just seem to have, you go into Trade Me or eBay, whatever it is, and they're just everywhere. And I just sold mine for what I literally paid for it, and I was quite rapt about that. Yeah. All right. Next question, mate.
All right. Next question. Live versus recorded content. So basically this means, do you go live? Which means you need to set it up with Chrome, and you can go through some kind of software like OBS or StreamYard or Riverside or whatever it is. I think you can go through. There's quite a few streaming software, or recorded content, where you may record the content into your computer or into your camera onto an SD card, and then put it into something like a DaVinci Resolve, a Premiere Pro, or iMovie Final Cut Pro, and edit it. What do you think, live or recorded content?
Well, if you want the best ping for your, I think the more work you do on a video, the more visits you're going to get looking at your video. So, for example, I did a live last night on this Rob Buster guy, without a T, it's a Busser guy. And then I went and managed to get the raw video that was recorded. Like this meeting that I'm doing right now with Rob is actually recorded on StreamYard, and I can go download the file later on, even though it's been streamed on 8 different places. So I put that video into what I'm on a Mac, and I paid $500, and I bought a piece of software called Final Cut Pro. So I dragged that video in there. I tourniqueted it a little bit. I got rid of the start. I put my proper music underneath it, and I also put my little pop-ups every now and again. I have some presets, and I made a little bit of a intro for it, and then I've saved that video as a 4K video, because I think 4K videos, even though I recorded it at 1080, I can still save it as a 4K video. And then I re-uploaded that to internet, and it goes into a different area. So my lives will pop up on my live area, and the still videos, as I call them, and I will probably get more viewers on the still videos over time. But at once upon a time, anything that was still pre-recorded and uploaded used to get maybe a third more traffic, and it would get out there. I don't know if that was because of the audience I had, but I just found the live stuff didn't quite get the traction that my still videos would got. But then I also got my life back. And I think that when I went lives, I had to start grooming my audience, into expecting that we've been going for 1 hour and 25 minutes at the moment. Everyone will tell you that is too long and you're going to lose people. But I've got people we've got 18 people in here at the moment. We started with 11, and now we've got 18 people who are watching us. So I personally think you need to do both. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm doing lives, and then I'm getting my lives and I'm chopping them up into videos that I can upload as stills. They're both.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at what the AI says. Live streams can foster real-time engagement, while edited videos allow for polished content. And you can do both. So you can do a live, and if Danny could be bothered, what he could have done, or maybe is already doing, is that he could be recording this locally on his computer, or he could download the full live once it's done, and then slice all the fat out of it, and anything that he doesn't want, maybe even remove some whole questions out of it if he thinks they're a little bit dead or slow, or not giving that much value, and then upload a more condensed video. So you can do both basically at the same time. You definitely get better quality if you record it and then edit it on some kind of software, but there are advantages with live. One is they're a little bit more challenging if you want to push out your comfort zone. If you want to learn how to engage with the audience, then they're definitely the way to go. But you can engage with the audience with an edited, recorded, uploaded video as well, but it's a different way. You're more engaging through the comment section later after the fact rather than live. Danny going live, he has the ability to have, well, like me on the screen, he has the ability to have another person who's from a remote location on, but of course you can do that on a recorded video as well. But the advantages is more engagement. The disadvantages is you can have every technical issue known to mankind and then some. For example, YouTube can play up the stream. It's reliant on your broadband, your video being okay, your audio being okay, everything was plugged in, and also actually relying on a little bit of feedback from your audience in case something goes wrong. Sometimes you don't know about it.
Also, you can see I'm playing around with Rob at the moment. I can choose different looks. And this is something you learn to do. Like when you're editing, you'd have to do a lot of this in post-edit, but I've played around with the screens here. I can, and I can do a lot of different things. So if I was to share a screen right now where Rob's gone, I've got all these preset things ready to rock and roll, which can be quite good, but also very distracting. So right now, what I do is I come along here, notice that lifted up a little bit, and I've got some presets ready to go. So I can put us in a nice wee screen like this. I can put our box that you've already seen. I can put us in a different look if I want. I can bring up, screens like this if I want. So I can play around with different things in real time, and then you don't have to edit it later on. And you might spend half an hour thinking, I want to put Rob on a little wee screen, and then, you have sound problems, and it's just quite good to have, you know, a lot of options, really, if that makes sense. That's why I like doing it live.
I do agree, actually, because if you've got something like I've got a Rodecaster Pro here, so you've got all your sounds on and all that kind of stuff, and you know, you can kind of have a whole show going on as long as you master what those sounds are. You put in the sounds that you want, that you're going to use, and also, you know, like you interact with the camera, or you know, things like that, or even, you know, like the microphone, however it is that you want. So there, you do have a lot of options by going live. Just one of the things, because we're not really talking about software, but I'll just drop one thing in. iMovie is the free editing software that comes with a Mac. I have actually found that even though I have Final Cut Pro is really complex, and I can do almost everything I want on iMovie, and it's free. And you actually learn to get quite good at it. Here's the next question. Using your own viewing habits, I'll rephrase that. Do you use your own viewing habits, or do you have a look at how you view YouTube to influence how you use YouTube for your own content?
I don't know. I mean, I when I'm creating my thumbnails, I think I'm I think I've got a unique style about them, and I think you could look at my. So I think when I'm looking at other people, like at the moment, if I looked at my YouTube channel, I thought, who do I follow? There's a guy that goes around Nürburgring. What's it, Nürburgring?
Yeah. The Nuremberg. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, I can't even think how. Yeah, the car racing track.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nürburgring.
Yeah, Nürburgring. I mean, it's probably a bit naughty if I won't flip up the screen, but when I go through and I look at his thumbnails, he's got a car and he has 3 words. Like, I got told that when you do your thumbnails, 3 words max. So I had a guy that had 600,000 subscribers, and he gave me a few tips, and he said, no, never ever put more than 3 words on your thumbnails, and never give away what the video is about. So how to earn money on YouTube, and we're both looking excited, and there's money. That there probably isn't the best thumbnail, but what I should have done is come up with 3 words that said how I lost 10,000. I don't know. I lost $10,000 on YouTube, and then I had a blurry face, you know, pointing at a guy with a blurry face. Something like that would probably get more clicks. But then I have to, in the first 15 seconds of the video, basically address that thumbnail. And I see a lot of people doing that, but now I actually don't like that sort of content. I like to look at a video and know who it is, go there and watch it and get what I want. And I find that I watch Judge Judy all the time. Her thumbnails are just a couple standing there ready to go. You have to click on it to listen to it, but I like her content. Obviously, the Nürburgring guy, I quite like motorsports, so I watch his videos every day. I just think, yeah, and I don't even think the thumbnails, I don't think I'm influenced by it. I just like my thumbnails. Like, I often create my thumbnails before I go live, so I don't even know where it's going to go. The other day, I had a thumbnail about the anti-spam conference seminar, and we finished up gate crashing into somebody's Zoom meeting that was in Russian. Now, I didn't go back and redo the thumbnail. It was just there was an opportunity there to gate crash a Russian boomerang meeting, and it's not relevant. But I think when I go live, people know that we could just be changing tacks any minute. You know what I mean? So personally, I think I like the people. Like, there's another guy called who fixes cars. I've seemed to have got myself into 3 YouTube channels where they fix these cars that they buy, you know, like a Lamborghini that's been wrapped around a lamppost, and no one would want to fix it, and they fix it. And I don't know, I like the YouTuber. I just don't really care about the thumbnail, to be honest. I think being authentic and being, interesting to listen to. I think your voice, I'm waffling a bit now and I'm thinking I should have shut up half an hour ago, but I mean, it's at the end of the day, I think people tune into you. So I don't think people need to be tricked into getting here to listen to us. They either like us or they don't. I think we just went down a couple of subscribers then.
I think I try to observe myself sometimes, because a lot of the time when I'm on YouTube, I'm not really thinking about trying to learn from me, but when I do think, oh, why did I make that choice? Like, for example, if I searched whatever it was and the whole page comes up and there's like 12 options, what made me choose? Well, I guess the first one I look at, so order, which is YouTube, which has kind of got nothing to do with anything necessarily that I can influence. That's going to influence me somehow. But sometimes it's what don't I click on? There are some thumbnails that I'll look at and they kind of repel me in a way. So try not to repel anybody. If you're repelling anybody, that's a great way to get no views and no money. And obviously the whole thing is more views, more money. So I think, just think, what do I want to click on? And once you've created a thumbnail or you created a title, does that kind of get your juices flowing? Does that kind of create some kind of excitement? And I noticed that for me, sometimes, depending on what the content is, I won't look at a short video. Like if I want to learn something about a topic, like an in-depth topic, topic, good grief, I will want a 20-minute plus video. Anything short of waste of time, because I'm changing, I'm clicking. One of the things I've realized on YouTube is that if you choose a lot of those shorter videos and you want to learn something, you're actually hearing the same content, but from a different content creator all the time. Get a long one and you're going to get a lot more in-depth content. That's one of the things I learned. But yeah, I just wrote down what actually turns me off. What is an example of a title? Next time you're watching YouTube, just observe yourself. Why didn't I choose that thumbnail? Why didn't I click on that title? And maybe you'll learn something to give yourself an insight. The next thing is, and this is kind of related to this, why do we keep watching a video? So you clicked on a video, Danny, why do you keep watching it?
Well, it probably stimulates me enough to keep watching it, really. Yeah, I think it have to be relevant. I mean, I do hate when clickbait's a terrible thing. You click on something that's not what you want. I'll give you an example. I've been researching, Susie will laugh at this, but billiard players. So we're trying to track a lady who plays snooker. And now I got thrown a video the other day, today, and it's two ladies having a hair pulling competition playing snooker. And they had, the title of the video was something like, the most shocking moments in snooker history. And I watched 10 shocking moments of snooker history, and they were all lame, and there was no pulling the lady's hair video. I even got to the point where I felt ripped off enough that I got the mouse and went over the video to track it to see for the part where the ladies were having the fight with the hair. It never happened. I felt ripped off. I would not subscribe to that YouTube channel. And sometimes I think when you get good content and you get what you want out of what you thought you were going to click on, I give them a sympathy subscribe. And I subscribed to it because I thought, and there's a guy that's taught me a lot about using my camera, and I've subscribed to his channel, and I even gave him $5 because he helped me fix a problem that I couldn't solve. And I'm not even interested in his content, but he solved a problem for me, and I like the way he does his videos. And also the guy that I'm thinking of, this is the thing I had a problem with. This blur hand, that, and I have an ND filter. I paid $180 for an ND filter on the end of my camera, which means I'm more smoother on the camera. So see my fingers, how they go blurry and they go a bit green? That's because I've got a green screen. But he helped me get that right. And so I gave him $5 and I subscribed to his YouTube channel. I promise you, I've never watched another one of his videos because he only had one video that fixed my problems. So I don't know. Hey, I've got 2 love hearts now. I think you did Shirley did explain how I got the love hearts, but I still didn't quite understand how it worked. So who gave me a love heart just now? How did you do it? Can you read that?
Participants can click an icon like a love heart when you're live and afterwards. I think she could be talking about just to give you a love heart like encouragement. But what you're talking about, I haven't kind of worked out exactly what you're talking about.
Can you
Like, I
not
know
see the
what you're
top
talking
of?
about.
So at the moment it tells me. Oh, I know where it will tell me. So at the top of my screen, it tells me that I've got 12 people watching me on, what do they call it? X. 5 people are watching me on YouTube. So we've got 17 viewers, and then it's coming from Facebook. So Vanessa
I see.
Green, thank you very much, Vanessa, and another lady, which I won't read her name because she's a COVID supporter, has actually, when watching us on our Facebook, has actually hit the love heart. So the love heart comes from Facebook. That's my question. Yeah.
Interesting. To answer that question, why do I keep watching? Well, hopefully it's given me the answer to the problem that I had, that I wanted, and I'll keep watching if it's short, and I'll keep watching if it's not distracting, as I mentioned before. So that'd be one thing. But the other thing is got to keep moving. Like, it's got to move from one thing to the next. If it dwells, I find if it dwells, and this is coming back to what that editor for a big name YouTuber was saying, you don't want to give people a time to think, because when they have time to think, when the content moving slows down, people make that decision and they're most likely going to click off. But the other thing that's a big thing is storytelling, because it'll start somewhere and it goes somewhere and then it finishes somewhere. And if it leads into a story at the start of some sort, hi guys, we're going to drive this Ferrari around this track. Guess what happens? I'm going to be driving this with Danny de Hek, a YouTuber. We've set it all up and we record exactly what happens, and it's not what we expected. Well, now I'm going to think, well, what the hell happens? So,
and I'm just going to thank our sponsor for tonight before we tell you how that Ferrari is going to actually be driven around but stay tuned and they keep stringing you along.
Yeah, and that sponsor message might go on for a minute and be as boring as shit. But I'll stay there because I think, what does happen?
I watched a video last night, mate, while I was in bed for 45 minutes, and Helen was going, come on, is it finished yet? No. There was a motorbike guy in LA being chased by helicopters, and he was doing 180 kilometers an hour through, and he went in the mountains, and and it was basically the same shit. Now, Helen will go, just fast forward to the end. And I go, no, because he's, and it's, you look at it and oh my God, it's an hour and a half video. But I sat there and watching this thing.
Journey, it's not the destination. And that's how it can work sometimes. So here's the opposite question. Why do we stop watching something?
Gotta go to bed. Yeah. Why did we stop watching something? Well, some of it, like my car fix-it ones. I've watched 3 different car fix-it guys. There's the guy that fixes these cars out on the paddock, and he doesn't have the flash garage, and he's sort of like, I can do it. I went to the mechanic. He was going to charge me $30,000 for this. I reckon we can do it for less than that. And he's working out in the paddock fixing, sports cars. That fascinates me. But then every now and again, I think, I'm a bit bored of this now. So then I'll switch to the other guy, and his will be more groomed, perhaps more, I don't know. And it's just like, sometimes I just get stale content. Keeping fresh content is probably quite hard. So probably stale content. Seen it before, nothing new here. I'm just grinding my brain out. Listen to this.
Yeah, I was just writing some stuff down because this is my research, my live research. And that is, you've run out of time. You've realized it's not what you want. You've seen it before. It takes too long to get to the point. It's too confusing. It's lost you. You're not too sure what's coming out. Therefore, you assume nothing. And it maybe hasn't made you a promise. It hasn't handed you something to create some suspense that will hold you in to the end. There's a girl I think she's either American or Canadian, and she does heaps of shorts, and it's quite amazing. This girl looks like she's only 12, but she must be about at least 18 or so. She's got a whole team around her, and they come up with ideas for shorts. They go and film the shorts as best as they can, and they're probably quite long. Even though a short has to be under a minute, they'll actually film for quite a lot longer than a minute.
She's
And
the
then when they're
kitchen girl.
editing it, pardon?
She's the kitchen girl.
I can't remember what she does them on at all now, but I can remember she's got long black hair. That's about it.
Yeah,
But
I think she burnt her mum's kitchen down or something like that, and she started cooking cookies, and she videoed them, and she's got like millions of people watch her shorts. Is that the one?
yeah, she's got huge followers. I think Colin and Samir interviewed her. Colin and Samir are these two guys who interview a lot of people, and they also have a lot of tips around how to produce better content. But they interviewed her, and one of the things is that when they go through and they edit the clip down into the short, they're all thinking when they're watching it, at this moment, at this second, at this group of 2 seconds of content or 3 seconds of content, have I lost interest enough to turn off? And if I have, they cut it out.
Yeah.
So it's edited. I can't think of the word, but it's edited so tight that the content's just moving. It's over, and now you watch it again because it's so tight. You probably missed something, and so you will let it run through again. So that's one of the reasons why I might turn off. And of course, if people turn off, then they're not going to come through the next ad, or they're not going to watch through the next ad in the body of your material to get to the other side, etc., etc., etc. Quantity versus quality, or both, Danny?
Well, I think quality is very important. Sometimes I think I should go through and kill all the videos because there was a point where my videos started going to 300 or 400 views instead of 1,000 or 8,000 views. And in my heart of hearts, I think that if I went through and got rid of a lot of the crap that isn't performing, it may actually help the health of my channel. But I kind of have to stay true to what I'm doing, and that is leaving an archive of all these guys on there. So when I was in the New York Times, 3 days before I got the New York Times, I got copyright strikes because I had content on there that wasn't groomed like I have it now. And I literally had to delete 80 or 100 videos that could have had the same fate, and I would have lost my YouTube channel. I think when I did that, then I was in the New York Times, people were going to my YouTube channel going, well, where's all the good videos? And I think that hurt me a lot. So now I'm sort of thinking, well, I should perhaps, I don't know, do I get rid of some of my videos? Will it help the Google algorithm go back up again? All this sort of carry on. So I don't really know. But when I saw a YouTube channel from this Rob Buster guy yesterday, and he had 1,600 videos and only 1,100 subscribers, I don't want to be, I think every video stands on its own merit, because the other day I got one that had 1,000 subscribers, not subscribers, sorry, 1,000 views, and it restored faith in what I'm doing. And then I suddenly realized to myself, maybe it's not the amount of videos, but it might be the timing of what I'm doing my video on, and whether I'm in the school of fish. I've always talked about schools of fish, and you feed them, they have a feeding frenzy. If you manage to get that formula right, I don't think it matters if you've got 10,000 videos on your YouTube channel. I think you can produce a one-off video that goes crazy regardless. I think every video has its own, my opinion, I think every video has its own power. But if you want to sit there and think, ooh, I've got 5,000 videos on my YouTube channel, I'm one day Google's going to come along and go, I love Danny, and all of a sudden they're all going to take off. I think you might be a bit, I think your video's lifespan is probably about 3 weeks. After that, it gets archived and you might as well get rid of it. It doesn't do anything. I don't know if that makes sense. That's my sort of take on it.
Yeah. No. I completely get that. I find that I'm going to get most of my views, obviously, in the first 24 hours, probably because that content is topical, like it's current, and people want to hear about that right now. there'll be a reasonable showing on day 2, and then it will be pretty consistent for the next week and a half to 2 weeks. But then after that, it will drop off because it's no longer news anymore. Although, if you've got a title which is pertinent, then that might be longer lasting. Like, for example, about an event that happened. Say that there was a crypto expo in Dubai on February the 28th, and that got referred to in March, June, April, August. People might go back and have a look at it. But generally speaking, after a couple of weeks, a number of views for topical current events, current affairs, things are definitely going to fall off. I'm just reading up here what ChatGPT said. It said, finding the right balance between producing frequent content and maintaining high quality, because sometimes it's quite hard to do a lot of content and keep the quality up at the same time. It said on here, according to AI, quality should be prioritized, but consistent output is also important for growth. I just got down here myself to create a formula whereby all videos have something, whether it's tight on the content, it's funny or interesting, or a personal story that weaves its way through. Maybe include a joke somewhere. And I put that in there because that Camera Conspiracies channel quite often starts, because even though they're reviewing cameras, they take they have a lot of fun at the expense of photographers. And so quite often he says, photographers are like blah, blah, blah. And it's a joke to start off. You're engaged at the start, and you're going to cruise through the next 5 minutes before you make a decision to turn off. The next thing that says up here is efficient video production process. So strategies for streamlining from idea conception to the upload of the video or the production of the video. How long? Well, just tell us, Danny, what do you do first? Do you come up with the idea for a video and then you produce the video? Or do you schedule, I am going to do a video at such and such a time, and then you think about, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah, good question, Rob. I'm buying time, looking for the answer for that one. I think I think I'm starving for ideas all day long. And I think when I have one, I go with it. And then in my head, I'm trying to build how to make that into, I think we got taught when we went to our speaker training, it always is about a template. If you were doing a 2-minute speech, you'd have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so if I was going to do a video, like today, I woke up this morning, I had a bit of a run-in with a disgruntled person that I was, given a hard time to. And my brain went into, right, I need to produce a video straight away and then I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? I'll need 10 bits of evidence to prove my point. And on my head, I'm thinking, where would I get that from? And I've got this, I've got that. And then I thought, I will use the video that I've got of this guy. And then, before I knew it, I'd built in my head the whole, what that video is going to be about. And then when I'm designing the thumbnail for it, I'm also thinking about, how is this going to tie into the speech? And I think I actually build the speech in my head, or what it's going to be about. Like, let's use Rob Buster, for example. So my go-to was to, first of all, find a good photo of him. And I did. I found a nice photo of him. Then I thought, well, I'll go to his YouTube account, have a good look through that. Hello, Scully. We see you there. And then I thought, I'm going to open up every bit of social media about him. I went to ChatGPT. I asked about him. Then I went to his Twitter. I looked to see how many followers he had. And then I basically knew. And then I looked at it for 24 hours. I got distracted by doing another video. Come back 24 hours later, reopened up everything I did. And then thought, oh, thank goodness I didn't do this yesterday, because I now found out more information about him. And I thought to myself, oh, I forgot about his Facebook. And then I found he had while I was doing the video, I found that he had 2 Facebook accounts. So then in my head, I weren't prepared for that. So I had to sort of ad lib, and it could have all gone wrong. But it didn't, but it could have. I don't know. So I think it's a good question. It's like, how much preparation goes into a video? Do I sit here and I don't really? And I think that's what I like about the live. So if I met you in the supermarket and I bumped into you, Rob, and I started looking into your trolley and I saw that you had 10 bottles of red wine, I might say, oh, yeah, you've got a party going on there. And then you go, no. Oh, you're going home to drink those alone now, yeah? You've got a bit of a drinking problem. You sort of have to think on your feet. And I think that's what I like about doing these lives. When we've been going for an hour or two like we have now, we seem to be better at speaking. We're more relaxed. I wish I could get this right out of the gate and just be relaxed and feel good, because this is where it gets good. But the day I can just sit in front of the camera and light up the mic, go live and talk about any topic and be prepared mentally and versed on what I'm talking about, and not having to prepare mentally, because you can't just go blah. I think it's the same. So right now I see George has popped into the room, Scully's popped into the room, Susie's here, and we've got 19 people in the room at the moment, and here I am waffling about nothing. But I like to think I can think on my feet, and I'm prepared for whatever might be thrown. Now, Bob's here, George, Bob, whatever your name is, Tugman, and he might say there's a meeting live at the moment, and normally we'd be in the middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden we're off to a Zoom meeting, storming it, trying to catch them, and that's so in your head you're preparing for what's happening all the time. But obviously I'm talking about, do I prepare? So in an ideal world, I'd love to have it all scripted, but I remember that video I did, I'm waffling now, but that video I did of Stephen Reese Lewis, and I dressed up in a suit, and I wasn't pretending, but I was reading off a teleprompter, and that video has had 35,000 views, and people going, oh, you were imitating him. And I go, no, I was actually trying to read off a teleprompter like I weren't, but when I played it back, you could see I was obviously trying to read off a teleprompter, and it became one of my best videos. So I always laugh at that video, because Stephen Reese Lewis used to always read off a teleprompter, and here I am trying to mimic him terribly, and it just made me laugh, you know what I mean? But anyway, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, well, it was quite interesting, because I took some notes down just when you were going through that, because sometimes I come up with an idea and I think I want that on a video right now.
Yeah.
But of course you think, okay, well, I can't actually do that. I need to grab a camera. I need to sit down. I need to have a studio. I need to have a microphone, and actually don't. You actually don't. This is the whole thing. You can just grab your phone, hit go live, and I'm going to contradict what I said before. You can actually go live straight away, but then there's nothing up there. There's no. I don't even think there's a title. So if you grab your phone and just hit go live right now, I don't even think it has a title. I think it just comes up in your channel that you were live. But one of the things that when I was writing this down, I'm thinking, I'm listening to you at the same time, is that when you go live, you may think, well, I'm going live at 6 o'clock. And from the beginning of the day leading up to 6 o'clock, unless it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you're just thinking, oh, I could talk about this. An idea pops in your head and you write that down. And then another idea pops in your head and you write that down. You've got these little pieces of popcorn, and they're very shallow. They're sweet, right? They're little morsels. And you just throw that out, and then you go to the next one and you throw it out. So it's quite superficial, and it's engaging. You're not too sure where you're going to go, as you say, and you're speaking about it impromptu. But if you have an idea and you actually spend a little bit of time formulating it, then you can go down. Like, for example, if you were going to talk about helium balloons. So if you just had the idea, like you went to some show and they let 1,000 balloons go off, helium balloons go flying up in the air, you might think, oh, okay, well, that's quite fascinating. I could have a shot of the balloons going up in the air. I could have a shot of a helium canister blowing up the balloons. How does helium rise and all this kind of stuff, which means you're talking down the topic. Whereas if you're going to go live, you might talk across the topic and do something like that. So the other thing that you could do, I thought, is you could actually, one question here, which is raised from this, is, do you think you should do, if you've got a big topic, so let's say helium balloons had 10 aspects of it. Do you think you should do a video if you want to make the most money on YouTube by doing one video that covers all 10 aspects, or 10 videos that covers one aspect each?
Yeah, well, I ain't got that. I'm not patient enough anymore. Well, I think you should do 10 videos, and you should have, well, okay, so I had this scammer that's trying to sue me in the New Zealand High Court for $3.8 million, right? I produced one massive video to condemn him in the court, and it was 4 hours, 47 minutes, and 19 seconds long. And everyone said, "Oh man, like if we went to court, that even my lawyer said we'd have 10 hours of video footage to watch." And I said, "Yeah, but that's a cornerstone video." I said. Then what I did, I broke that video into 7 different segments, and then I did a video which is an hour long in each segment. And that was really amazing because I had the video that was a one-stop shop, but then when I broke it into 7 different videos, I could actually give a summary of each video and the outcome, because it took me 3 weeks to finish the series. But at the end of the day, I really got that guy. You search for that guy, he's mortified on the internet now. But I did find that had a better strength in the search engine than that one long video, because people just looked at the 4 hour, 47 minute, 19 second long video and switched off. And even the people that were supporting me were going, "Oh, it's too long, it's too long, it's too long." And I said, but that video gives this guy's life from the age of 23 right through to 40. And I've said everything he's done in one video. Here it is on a platter, but now I'm going to chop it up. I thoroughly enjoyed chopping it up. Bob's.
Yeah, it's interesting because I when you were talking about that, there's a guy, and I won't actually mention his name. Well, actually, it's Maz Tech or Max Tech or something like that. This guy, I think they're brothers. I'm not too sure, but they're 2 guys that look very, very similar. And I don't know that they only do Apple products, but let's say a new Apple MacBook comes out. They will come up with every conceivable question that I can think of, or that they can think of, really, to do a video. And so you might have on Monday, it'll have about all of the specs or the first impressions of the MacBook. The next day, it'll have comparing the MacBook to another computer. The next day, it'll have comparing that MacBook to the previous MacBook. The next day, it'll have comparing that MacBook of a particular size to another MacBook of a smaller size or larger size. Then the next, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So they're actually buying these new products, but they're thinking of every conceivable question that their audience could actually ask and producing a video on that. And they're still interesting. So, and just when I think about that, I don't know how much overlap there is between one video and the next, but I know that I watch them. So that is one of the things. But also just having a think between you and me, I think the one thing that we do differ on, although I know you have done it in the past, is I will try to jot down at least a series of points that I want to cover on a video, because sometimes, particularly when you're live, you might get a distraction, or you may just have a mental block and you just don't know what to talk about or where to go next. But if you've got, for me, if I've got a series of bullet points, I think, okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And it may be when I'm talking, I come up with another one and I write that down again. So because I'm moving and because I'm taking the notes, more people may watch it for longer, which may mean that I make more money. Do you think you should focus on building an audience or just focus on the topic?
No, building an audience, much more fun. I love my audience that I've got. I mean, like Susie's always in here, and I know she's got a family. Well, I think she's got a family. And the fact that we could be on here for 2 hours and 4 minutes, and then Bob George pops in here, Tiger comes along here, Scully comes to say good day. I like the audience, and I think we're privileged to have one. You know, and when like when we're working as a team, I mean, like, yeah, I think the audience is most exciting. So the question was, building an audience versus focusing on topics. I think, well, you kind of have to have some topics. Like when I went on the Rob Buster topic. Now that video is never going to get any traction because he's nobody. But I did that video because it was easy to do. And yeah, it was a sort of a no-brainer, but it's not really as good as doing a topic on Sam Lee. Like Sam Lee, I can go crazy, tons of content out there. If I get any update on Sam Lee and do a video, I'm not only guaranteed to get, probably 4 or 5 times more viewers than I would some person that I'm busting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
If you have and if your topic is, like at the moment we've found out where Sharvis lives. I mean, that's a video all in itself, and we've recorded the phone call of when we rung the receptionist and asked where they wanted the pizzas delivered that we bought with crypto, and she told us the room he was in. I mean, that would be the video that everyone wants to watch. Now, whether that's true and factual, you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see whether that video is going to happen. But we can tell you there's some lovely pizzas coming to Sharvis's, anyway, but you know what I mean? So that's sort of quite exciting when you have a video about something like that. But, Tower 3, oops, sorry, didn't say that.
Yes, I think just hearing you talk there, I was thinking about probably if you want to maintain your audience, because the advantage with maintaining your audience and growing your audience is that, every time you go live, you're probably going to have that core audience that are going to watch every video. And if you're kind of branching out, left, right, up, down, or whatever from that core topic, then you're probably going to net in more people into that core audience. And I do know that at the start, I was kind of guaranteed 100 views per video. And then after a while, you get a few more subscribers, i.e. your audience grows. And now you think, well, every time I go live, I'm going to get 120, 150. And then at some stage, I was pretty sure that every time I go live, I'm going to get 300. And then for a while there, it was 500 plus. And I realized that that kind of stayed the same until I decided that I needed to take a break for my health because I was getting so tired. And you're back. And then you're finding that you're going to have to build up again if you want to get back there. Because audiences are obviously creatures of habit. And when I was doing those shows at the same time, I think I could go on live and within 60 seconds, I had about 12 to 15 people that were live on there. And then after, like another 5 minutes, not at the start, but after a little while, I had about 20 to 25 that I could rely on. And occasionally you get a lot more and occasionally you'd get less. But it's just whether or not you want to stay talking about the same topic or not. So there are definitely advantages, but then, what kind of channel do you want? Do you want to spread the topics around? If you do, you're not guaranteed that that audience is going to follow through, particularly if it's live. Just another question for you. What do you think you've done that definitely does not work?
Doesn't work. Yeah, probably going after people that are nobodies. Like we literally chasing somebody who's a multi-level marketing promoter who's got no name, who's nobody, is just a waste of time if you were looking for traffic. You know, and it's sort of regurgitating the same thing. I mean, like, I'm looking at CoffeeZilla on my iPad here. He's laying on the floor. He's got, you know, no words on his thumbnail, and he's got, you know, caution tape behind him. You know, he's going to get, you know, 50,000 people looking at his video as soon as he drops it, you know, and that's pretty clever. But, you know, because he's got a following now, he can do whatever he bloody well likes. It's great. And he's a nice guy. Steven's his name, and he's talked to me on the phone. But for me, what hasn't worked, is that the question? What didn't work?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you just have to play around, really. Because like I'm just looking at a video right now called AMC Global Arbitrage. And that's those stupid Dumb and Dumber guys. Now, Dumb and Dumber guys, they were promoting another arbitrage trading platform, and somebody's just come along 24 minutes ago and commented on a video. I think that video is maybe 2 weeks old. So I'm thinking, well, maybe Dumb and Dumber have done something. Somebody has just watched them doing a live. They've searched for a video to research who those guys are. My video's popped up. They've commented on it. I mean, that to me is a wee victory. So, you know, you never know what content's going to get picked up. No, I've got 1,000 blogs on my website. And one of the biggest blogs was New Zealand slang words. It used to bring in 40% of my website traffic, the one blog. And I think this is like fishing. So you never know when things, and also the algorithm, whatever it is, changes. And one video that might, like I got punched in the face by a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old a couple of months ago. I put it on TikTok, and within hours, it went up to 1.5 million. People viewed that video. So then I put it on Instagram. It's up to 1.9 million views, the same video, but it took 3 weeks to get there. And then I decided to put it onto other platforms, and it's evergreen content that just goes off. But when I put it onto YouTube, I got 5,000 views. But I mean, if YouTube decide to change something in the algorithm, whatever, then if I don't have a variety of different types of content on my YouTube channel, I could be, you know, lopsided. So that when I'm producing my content, like if I do like this video, I will find the funniest part of this video or the most shocking part when we release where Shavis Anwar lives in Tower 3 in Dubai. And if you want to know where it is, and I take that clip and make it into a short, then I'll put that on the top, and then I'll link it to this video, and I could get an extra 100 people looking at this video. You know, as I said earlier on, you could chop this video into, you know, 15-minute segments if I wanted to. We could chop this into the 20 questions that you're asking us at the moment. I could make 20 videos out of this, and each one of them could get 150 views. But I think I might lose my audience after a while, because they will kind of go, oh, is this one different than the last one? Oh, it's the same video. I've already watched this, and he's chopped it up. So maybe they won't explore my YouTube channel. So I try personally to have unique videos. Everyone that you watch, you know, is lives and still videos, and each one is its own story. I like to create stories. So I don't know if that answered the question. What doesn't work?
Yes, essentially, yeah. You know, like what have you worked does not work, and I think basically that if you move too far away from where your audience are, you're going into a pond that you don't really know that any fish are swimming in. And you're hoping that some people, I guess, you know, like, and this doesn't happen, that you do have some loyal viewers that are going to watch anything that you put out. But if you move too far, you know, like if you're, yeah, like for example, that guy who drives a car around Nürburgring, if he were to put a video out about him going fishing or on holiday or relaxing at the beach or playing with his kid, then maybe because it's a personality thing, you might watch that and find it interesting. But if you were watching his channel because you're only into cars, then if there's no cars, there's no value for you. So that's one of the things that I was actually writing down as well, that when I've gone and done a video because I want to do it, but it's not necessarily in line with the people that have subscribed to my channel, that maybe if I want to move there, I would do, okay, so here's my core topic. and I may just slowly move into another topic and see who follows and even whether I grow it. But there's no guarantee that anybody's going to follow you in there. So
There was one other thing too, which happened to me, and I will explain it. There was a guy that who offered me a lot of advice, and I'm just trying to look at his name. It's probably not important I say his name, but he actually ditched. He went after CoffeeZilla and challenged him. The guy had 600 viewers on his YouTube channel. And long story short, basically, I used to think this guy he was busting Ponzi schemes. In fact, he was one of the very first videos I actually watched. But because he went and supported a day trader that was obviously a scammer and then outed CoffeeZilla, he got mortified by CoffeeZilla. I just, all of a sudden, Cornelius, can't remember his name. I just thought, I don't want to listen to this guy's content anymore. And I think we could do that too. Like, you've got to have a listening ear to your audience. And if your audience is continuously saying something and you're not listening to your audience, you will lose your audience because they don't have to be loyal to you. I think you have to have a listening ear to your audience. And if you piss off your audience, you could lose them in a heartbeat.
I think I really like that. I've wrote that down. Your audience don't have to be loyal to you. I think we'll wrap it up with one last question, and I'm just having a look at probably the best one. What have you learned from the best YouTubers?
The best? Who is the best? Well, I love Casey Neistat. I absolutely love his videos, and I'll watch his videos. And he stopped his videos, but he's done a marathon of videos. Yeah, and I sometimes if I listen to what have I learned from other videos, the other YouTubers, is I get a bit disheartened because I see very cleverly done videos. Like, he's a brilliant. Every like you've often said that he will, the videos that he produces, he uses most of his content that he records because he goes out to record with a purpose, and he record the pineapple tree and the pineapple falling off a tree and chop out maybe 10% of it and use that footage, and then he will methodically work out his whole video. So when I watch this video, I think, wow, but I don't have that much time to do all these editings and these wonderful videos. But I look at these videos and think, oh, that's where I'd like it to go. I'd love to be able to have a team of people behind me who edit after we've done this video live, they take that video and they chop it all up into the bits and pieces, and they label it all and get rid of all the crap bits that we said, and just make a decent video that you could watch on TV and enjoy it a lot more rather than all the bullshit in between. Because it's kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes when you're doing these lives. I watch other people's lives and I go, oh, for God's sake, this is boring as fuck. Why am I watching this? And you're trying to skim forward, trying to find the bit that you're interested in. That's why you probably aren't going to mention it when I have time, but your timestamps can be quite useful, because if I ever do a video that's long and I know it's boring, I'm talking to my audience that's here now, because there's 19 people listening to me talk. And I know that when people are listening to the replay, it's not an active audience. It's somebody that might be looking for a point. So if something dramatically happened here, let's say Rob punched himself in the face, then I would put a timestamp in when Rob punched himself in the face, and then people can go watch the exciting parts if they want to. Otherwise, it's just going to be a long, drawn-out video. And I can't ask people, look, we just lost a viewer now, but I can't ask people to sit here for 2 hours and 17 minutes and watch us talk about something they may not be interested in, with the hope they might get something exciting. So I try to, if there's anything exciting in here, I'll put it in a timestamp. And that means you can hold your mouse up and it'll pop up and you'll click on that part and you can go listen to that part. I don't know if I answered the question then, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know. I think you did. And when you were writing that down, I thought, okay, so who are some of the best YouTubers that I like watching? And I put down Casey Neistat, Gerald Undone, and Mentor Pilot. Casey Neistat, I didn't even know what you would describe Casey Neistat as, but I'll tell a really short story. When I was trying to learn about YouTube and stuff, I was watching heaps of videos, predominantly on cameras, YouTube, and microphones. and I was doing my other work at the same time. So I had this playing in the background, and I thought I heard this name, and I didn't pay too much attention to it. And then I watched another video, and I thought I heard the same name. And so I replayed it. What is that name? And it was Casey Neistat. And I thought, I wonder how you spell that. And I hadn't really heard of the guy. But what it was is these two really good YouTubers referring to, well, Casey Neistat is the GOAT. You know, he is the greatest of all time for YouTubers in terms of what they were saying. So I went and had a look at Casey Neistat, and I saw this guy who was pretty random. And then you realize once you start thinking about creating a video, wow, there's a lot of work gone into this. There's a lot of thought. But then I heard him being interviewed by a guy who said, wow, there looks like there's a lot of work put into your videos. And he said, no, actually, he said the hard work is that he went through a period where he created one video every day for years. And the hard part was, what story can I tell today that I haven't told before?
Yeah.
And so he would think about that story at the start of the day, and then he would be visualizing how he would unfold that story, how he'd lead into it, how he would develop it. And him and his brother actually had a show. So they didn't start from the start. They started as people that had actually had a show on HBO. They'd sold that. That's where they made all their money and got their break. But Casey Neistat had never thought about doing anything on YouTube. And he saw his kid, I think it was his kid, his son, watching YouTube. And I think some of his son's friends had channels that were quite big. And he thought, oh, wow, I must be able to do this. And he actually struggled at the start, even though he had actually made it on TV. He couldn't make it on YouTube. Then he finally worked out the formula and away he went. But he tells a story. Every time he tells a story. And yeah, it was quite interesting. In an interview, he said that basically 60 to 70% of everything he films goes in the video, doesn't get cut out. And anybody who's done videos knows that is quite an amazingly high statistic. I can remember recording a 15-minute video, and by the time I'd edited it, there was about 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. That's how much fat can be cut out of a normal video. But that's what I learned from Casey Neistat. Have a story, always tell a story, and then visualize how you're going to tell that story, develop the story, etc. Of course, there's only one Casey Neistat, but Gerald Undone is just very methodical. So I really like watching Gerald Undone's one. And sometimes when he goes around other YouTubers and he does a studio review, it's very funny and it's kind of behind the scenes. So I love watching that. And Mentor Pilot is just a guy who is so knowledgeable about anything to do with aircraft crashes. He's a pilot trainer, and he goes through and he can talk you through exactly what happened in any plane incident or crash, the mentality that was probably happening to the pilot at the time. And it's just really fascinating. And of course, anything to do with a plane crash, there's a start, the flight, and the end. So it lends itself to a story. So that's what I've learned. And the key thing that I've learned tonight, just going through, is to work out what exactly I want to do videos on. But I want to be methodical. And I want to have a template, as you say, or standard operating procedure. How do I get from the idea to a video and follow a kind of a paint by numbers routine and be disciplined so that I know that whenever I post a video, it's going to be at least 80 to 90% of what I want it to be. And it's going to be quite succinct. Lives, though, completely different.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a different monster. I mean, I'm enjoying having my life back. I used to record. I watched the video for 3 hours. I would do a voiceover. It would be 5 hours. Render it for 3 or 4. Upload it for another 2 or 3, and then promote it. And I think I just chewed my whole day. And now I can go live. This quality of this video, to me, I'm happy with it. As technology gets better, I think you got to have fun, and I think don't be intimidated by someone. Don't think you can jump on here and be as good or as bad as Rob and myself straight away. Don't be so hard on yourself.
It takes a lot of effort to be this bad, Danny.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get Rob to do a few things. I've got this thing at the moment where you can do lives on your cell phone. So it means we might get some news of some scam that's gone down at the moment, and we just want to have a candid conversation about it. So there's a thing you can do on your phone where you can actually go duo with somebody live at the same time. And I would like to do a few of those with Rob. And that would be good for our audience because they would see us out of a studio. Rob could be, I don't know, driving to somewhere, and we just do it while we're talking. We just have and I think having different forms of content on your YouTube channel is more good for your audience that you've got, And I think that's one thing I've really valued now is having an audience, even having 20 people in a chat room. When I first started, it was me, myself, and I. And now I've got 20 people that I'm normally here all the time. I went into a chat room the other day and the guy had 1,000 people in his chat room. And then next minute I'm on his stage and he's interviewing me and asking me questions. And he was a regulated financial advisor. And I said, oh, well, I don't see many of those in my line of work. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm busting Ponzi scheme promoters. And they've got no regular. And he goes, oh, I hate them. And it was like, and then I'm looking at this 1,000 people in this room at a time, and then I got people following me from his channel to my channel. And then I realized, oh, that's another good thing you could do is get interviews with other YouTubers and bring other YouTubers onto your channel and vice versa. Get yourself out. There's something that I've still got to do, there's lots of different angles you can do. But if I didn't start this journey, I wouldn't be as relaxed as I am on mic now. And with all the graphics and the green screens going, the look that we've got, we're in a nice picture frame. Everything's pretty cool, but there's always room for improvement. So you just keep going. I think that's me waffling on. I'm done. You done?
I'm done.
Done. Hey, that's cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. We can play music. Oh, that's the other thing too, mate. Using music, not the best thing when you're a YouTuber. That music that you hear in the background right now is actually licensed to me. And every now and again, YouTube go, you're not allowed to use that music. And I have to prove that I have a license to use it. So that's a different conversation. So, good one, guys. Hey, thank you very much for tuning in. Now, Rob, if you don't know Rob, I've actually got shortcuts set up. I just need to go YouTube and then go, what's your name start with? R. And that's Rob's YouTube channel just popped up in the chat box. And if you're listening to the replay, if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see Rob's handle. It's Rob Woolley at whatever. And then if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, even though you're on my YouTube channel now, you can go, so I go YouTube S and then it pops up. And there's Rob chatting in my own chat room. And thank you for everyone that's been in the live. Do like and subscribe because if you don't, we'll hunt you down. We'll find you. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rob. You're awesome.
You too, Danny. And look, just what a challenge to people out there. YouTubing can be really scary, was at the start, but once you start, it becomes a whole lot of fun and you can experiment. And we've been doing it for at least 3 years or so each in our own ways, varying intensity. But there's no limit to how many times you can experiment with videos, topics, audio, gear, studio, green screens, anything you like.
Yep, I reckon so. But get started today. Just get started today. Just have a go. I love it. I love our YouTube channel.
To plant a tree 20 years ago. Second best time now. Old Japanese proverb.
Grasshopper. All right, guys. Hey, thanks very much. We'll see you in the next live.
Bye-bye.
See ya.